thank you for coming, and to our visitors, welcome to Monticello. I'm glad you're here, and I'm excited to hear from CDI. I'd like to thank McDaniel for applying for the community survey and organizing this gathering. Thanks to UAM, Dr. Peggy Doss, and Jeff Weaver for graciously hosting us. And I also want to recognize our council members, our planning commission members, and our A&P commission members. I've seen a lot of them here tonight, so thank you. And they came because they recognize the importance of our citizens' ideas and their desires for our city. Thank you again for coming. I'm excited to hear what happens.
Thank you, Mary Chase. Like she said, my name is Jeff Weaver. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Advancement and Chief of Staff here at the University of Arkansas Monticello, and we are certainly thrilled to have you all in the audience with us. We're also streaming on Facebook Live on the Monticello Economic Development Commission page, and not too long after this event, we will upload this to the UAM YouTube page and other social media outlets. So hopefully, if you missed the live stream, the residents of Monticello and Drew County will be able to watch this at a later time if they'd like to. So we have a really distinguished group here today to speak to us about community development and economic development. And our first speaker is Miss Tammy White with Energy of Arkansas. Tammy joined Energy of Arkansas in January of '95, and she's worked in almost every department, it seems like, in energy. Customer service, corporate communications, regulatory affairs, and a little point of personal privilege, she lived in Monticello for 2 years. So we're certainly glad to have her back, and she has a vested interest in seeing Monticello grow and succeed and do well. The majority of her time has been spent in economic development, where she currently serves as the community development manager of the community development program. She's a graduate of the Economic Development Institute and the Community Development Institute at UCA in Conway. She received her Professional Community and Economic Development designation in 2003. So please welcome Ms. Tammy White.
Hi, good evening. And I am very pleased to be back here with my friends in Monticello. It was actually 5 years here, and I would say some of the best years that I've had in working in communities. The people of Monticello really just welcome you with open arms, and whatever me or my family needed, you guys were able to step up. And I'm seeing a lot of old friends here this afternoon, so very special privilege for me. Back in 2019, I met with Shelby and my boss, Danny Gaines, and visited with her about an opportunity that we wanted to see if we could partner on to reach out to some communities who we thought could take and use a process that we'd heard a little bit about through the Community Development Institute called Strategic Doing. It's a little bit different approach versus strategic planning, both of which have great goals and outcomes with it. But in talking with Shelby, we said, well, let's see if we can identify 5 communities in the state of Arkansas and take them through a process that, in the end, will take them through a strategic doing process to identify some projects that the communities can work on together and to be able to meet those goals with the resources they have. That tool and that training along the way then provides the tools that is needed for that community to redo that process over and over again. So we had 5 communities that we signed up for this program. It was Wynn was our pilot project in East Arkansas, and then we had Monticello and Magnolia down in South, and then Searcy and Harrison up north. And so this started about the end of 2019. So you can imagine just about the time that we got things kicked off, COVID hit, and we've kind of been at a little bit of a standstill for a while. But we have found some ways to continue on the process and continue making some headway and bringing these items to the communities to work through. The first piece and part of it is to do a community survey with the community and get input for people to tell us a little about how they feel about their community and what they think those strengths and those characters and even some projects that they would like to see committed. then after that, we go through a process of training some of the executive leaders and community leaders there about the process that we'll be using. But the big piece that we have, and the part that we've had such a hard time with, is a big community gathering where we go through the strategic doing training and get everyone trained up and identify projects to go through. So that is what's been the holdup for the most part. But I'm glad to say that we seem to be looking like we can pick this back up and start this pace back over. And so the first step that Monticello had there was to do the community survey, which you all have done and had great response for. So this is going to be kind of a driving narrative, if you will, for us to kind of look for projects that Monticello might pull out of that. We'll be looking to do a larger community meeting. The amount of people who, through the survey, said that they wanted to participate and be involved was phenomenal. So that is exciting in and of itself. And we certainly look forward to being able to take the strategic doing process and being able to train some people here in Monticello through that process. And we are hearing testimonials from those that are using it, that they are being able to apply it to a university or through a city project or through even a church project that they're working on. So it's something, a process that's very transferable. And so we look forward to bringing that to Monticello over the time and looking to see what kind of projects pull out of that. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you to those who are joining us on the live stream and watching us on YouTube. We appreciate that very much. And I truly look forward to being able to be back in Monticello and working with you all through these projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. I failed to mention that the reason you're looking at me tonight and not Nita McDaniel is because Nita's out of town dealing with a family situation, but she wanted me to send her thoughts with you all, and she certainly does a great job of promoting Monticello and working hard to create jobs in Monticello and bring industry to Monticello, and this is one step in that, and so she was a real driving force in all of this, so she's really missed tonight. I just wanted to make a note that we're thinking about she and her family. So the next person I want to introduce for quick remarks is Ms. Kristen Dane from the Arkansas Economic Development Commission.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kristen Dane, and I'm the South Arkansas Regional Manager of Community Development at the Arkansas Economic Development Commission. So we're the state's agency on economic development. So basically, anytime there is a company that's looking to expand or relocate in the state of Arkansas, we help work with them, and we also help communities prepare for that type of economic development activity. So I've gotten the privilege of working with Nia pretty frequently in the 2 years that I have been here at the agency, and I know she's helping you all do great things here, and they always say that you can't have economic development without community development, and I think just the support that you all have shown for the community and your vested interest in improving Monticello and growing Monticello is really shining through this Community Catalyst program, and I'm excited to see the great things that come out of this and all the other different programs that you guys have going on right now in the town. I just want to say, AEDC, we support this program and all the other things you guys are doing. And if you ever have any questions about economic development, or if you're looking for any resources that the state might have to offer, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd be happy to visit with you.
Thank you, Kristen. It's good to have you in Monticello. So now it's time to introduce the show and the person that you all have come and got on Facebook to see, Ms. Shelby Field. Ms. Field is the director of UCA's Center for Community and Economic Development and the Community Development Institute. She's a graduate of Arkansas State University, and I think we've just about covered every university in Arkansas. And let me note that she's wearing purple tonight, but she's actually an honorary bowl wheel. And so we're certainly happy to have her here. She completed the Mid-South Basic Economic Development course in 2017. She received a new professional award from the Arkansas Community Development Society She currently serves as the ex officio for the Community Development Society and serves as the UCA Senate Staff Secretary and is a member of the Breakthrough Solutions Advisory Board, Arkansas Economic Developers, and Chamber Executives, the Public Relations Society of America, and the Arkansas chapter of the Public Relations Society of America. She serves on the Conway Historic District Commission and the Arkansas Municipal League City and Town magazine contributor. And she is a graduate of the inaugural class of the Conway Area Leadership Institute in 2017. Please welcome Ms. Shelby Field.
So Jeff and I really hyped me up as the showstopper. I feel like I should have had some music, Jeff, to come on stage too. Well, thank you all so much for being here tonight. I'm so excited to partner with the City of Monticello, Monticello Economic Development Commission, and UAM to bring you this process, which Tammy shared a lot about already, the Community Catalyst program that we're moving forward with in Monticello. So we recognize that in any planning process, and before I'm going to get a little audience interaction because I don't want you guys to sit there and stare at me the whole time. Raise your hand if you've ever been through a planning process for your community or your business or organization. Note for the people at home, everybody's hands are pretty much raised. So we recognized at UCA that we work with communities all across the state, and we did a lot of strategic planning. And that planning was awesome. We rolled it out in the community. We did a lot of think tank exercises, round robins, gathering of community feedback. We came up with these amazing, awesome goals that would make our communities, greater places to live, work, and play. But sometimes in that process, once that plan was established and written, it went on a shelf. I think we've all heard that before, especially from a community perspective. You have to have ownership to get things done. And so through the Catalyst program, what we really want to bring is achievable, successful goals that will have an impact on Monticello. But we recognize that as a part of that process, we really need to get that community engagement and interaction on the front end. Make sure everybody's voices are heard, diverse voices are heard. Throughout this room, I've met many of you. We have a lot of great leaders in this room, but it's really those folks in your community that are really going to make the difference on that progress and growth. So tonight, I want to share some of those community survey results with you all. So the overview of the survey, it ran in January, from January 4th to January 22nd. You had an amazing turnout. Over 500 citizens completed the survey. We'll talk a little bit more about who those folks were, what they shared in the survey. But let me tell you, knowing community surveys across the state, much larger communities have barely had that turnout, so that's a great earmark for success. And I also want to say there was diverse representation from across the community. And you'll see right here, the first thing that we collected from survey respondents were their geographic location. So we asked if they were inside Monticello city limits, inside of the county, and we also had a few people from outside of the county because we recognize that Monticello is really the hub for Southeast Arkansas, and we wanted to collect everybody that this process is going to impact. So it's not just residents of Monticello, it's community citizens from the surrounding area, and even outside of the county. So as well, like I said, we have diverse representation. This gives you a little breakdown of full-time, part-time, students, retired folks, stay-at-home, caretakers. You'll see on the bar graph, we have representation from almost every sector and a few high school students. And this as well was industry reputation, and at any time I also want to make a note, if anybody's interested in the more specific breakdown of this information, please follow up with me afterwards or get my contact information from the mayor or Jeff. I'd be happy to talk with you through the specifics of the survey. So once again, you have a good curve. A lot of different industries were represented through this process. Age range of respondents. What we're looking for here is, once again, that bell curve, making sure we're getting the young end, older end, everybody in the middle. You had a great response rate of 46 to 55 and 56 to 65, but you also had a great response rate in all the other age ranges. Community personality. So this is a fun question that we like to ask on the survey. It's always interesting to hear how people perceive your community, because I don't know about you all, but when I get a perspective about a product, a community, an organization, the first thing I'm doing is asking the people in those communities, in those organizations, and saying, what's your experience? How do you feel about your community? So this is really internal marketing. And I want to share the top 5 responses. Small town, traditional, rural living, family-oriented, hunting and fishing, and friendly. Raise your hand if you think that pretty much describes Monticello. Lots of hands raised again. Thank you for participating. So yeah, this is, I think, what really encompasses your community. A few people did, say diverse, convenient, charming, beautiful, but those were kind of the top 5 responses. And this is where we really get into the meat of the survey. So we intentionally asked about what focus areas citizens want their leadership to be focused on. Again, I'm going to run through the top 5 for Monticello. And I want you, after everyone, clap if you agree that that is a focus area that you think Monticello should be focusing on. So number 1, job creation. Workforce development and education. Healthcare. Family and youth activities. Downtown development. And entrepreneurship and small business development. So obviously there are other areas that are very important to your community, but those are roughly the top 5. And I want to say that when we were going over these survey results, we've been to probably 6 or 7 different communities and counties doing a community survey very, very similar to this. I am very excited to see that Monticello really has a focus on small business, entrepreneurship, the downtown development. It really shows that you radiate that perspective of grow your own, focus on people in the community, help them with their businesses, and understanding that's really where you're going to see growth in your community, is building folks up that are already here. And then obviously the focus on your youth, the youth and family activities, education, and then obviously job creation, probably the number 1 sector focus area that we see across the state. And so we also have an open response area where citizens could share general feedback about opportunities that they thought that Monticello should focus on for the future. And we extracted comments that were repeated frequently in those over 500 surveys. So attracting business and industry was obviously something that came up a lot. That goes back to that job creation piece. Youth and family activities. Specifically, people wanted more kid-friendly activities, an arcade, mini golf, festivals, a community theater, biking and walking trails, which we were really excited to see because that promotes health in your community. It promotes those youth and family activities. We're really seeing that space grow across the state. Lake Monticello was something that we found that we were very interested to see that many participants of the survey really wanted Lake Monticello to be a greater asset for your community, specifically restoring the lake and getting more outdoor recreation and beautification within the lake as well to contribute to the city. And then a community center was specifically brought up several times, developing a true community center for Monticello. And then this is just from those top projects opportunities, we created a word cloud. So these were words that were most frequently shared within the survey. Words like businesses, opportunities, better, city, jobs, community, need, industry, restaurants, obviously another thing that people are very interested, the lake, development, shopping, family. Those were just some words that were frequently shared throughout the survey. And so, before I move on to these next steps, I do want to ask, are there any questions from the audience, specifically on the survey piece? Anybody? And if you do have any questions, like I said, always you can reach back out to me. So somebody take your mask off, Dan.
Shelby, you've seen a lot of these surveys from different communities. Are there any ways that Monticello really stood out as unique or distinct?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that question, Dan. Like I said before, I was really excited to see that oftentimes citizens, when they think about that job creation and growth and progress, they associate that with bringing a large industry in from the outside. We hear that a lot in communities from across the state. In Monticello, many of the citizens that took the survey recognize that grow your own approach, that we need to support small businesses, we need to support entrepreneurship, we need to create a thriving downtown. Your downtown is beautiful, by the way. I took a tour, Tandy took me on a tour before we came in. But that is something very rare from a citizen perspective for citizens to recognize that's really where you're going to find growth in your community. It's very, very hard, I'm sure Kristen can tell you, to bring in a giant new industry to an area. You're going to find that growth through business retention and expansion, and that grow your own. So thank you, Dan. That was something I think really stood out. And then I also think that something that really stood out is just the energy portrayed by citizens, that they're ready for something to happen. And they are so excited for something to happen, because like Tandy mentioned in her presentation, there's a section on the survey that said, if you're interested in being a part of the growth and development of Monticello for the future, please sign your name and give your contact information. You had almost 180 people say, out of that 500, that they directly wanted to be involved in moving Monticello forward. And that is probably more than I've ever seen on a community survey where we've asked the same question. That just goes to show people want to be involved, they want to be engaged, they're ready for things to happen, and that's why I think the strategic doing process is such a good fit for Monticello. Thank you for that question, Dan. Anybody else? Okay. All right, no problem. So, what's next? So Tandy already kind of gave you a preview of what we're hoping to do in Monticello, but as she said, we recognize that our timeline for that grassroots community initiative is still a little hung up because of the pandemic. So we've built in for Monticello some other services that are going to support that process, but things that we can do right now in the next couple of months and weeks, and that we want all of you to be involved in, and all of those watching to be involved in. So first and foremost, Monticello has been chosen as the Community Development Institute Advanced Your Community. This is our Community Development Institute, called CDI, has been around for 35 years. We're a national program. It's a 3-year program. When students, or participants I should say, graduate, they're community and economic developers from all over the state of Arkansas and the Mid-South. So they're experts in their field. They can choose to come back for an optional 4th year where they actually, during the week of CDI, August 2 through 6, they will come to Monticello and do a high-level community assessment. So we're not gone. We're going to be back in August and for some other projects. But this is a competitive process. Simmons Bank this year is going to be sponsoring our advanced year. They wanted to target the Delta region, Southeast Arkansas Delta region. We invited several communities to apply for this opportunity, and because of the application that was submitted on behalf of Monticello and the fantastic leadership, I must say, that you all have in your community as we work with you through the Catalyst process, that pushed us to choose Monticello for that program. So we really need everybody to be involved in that. We're going to have focus groups, a community presentation, and we need you guys to give us that feedback as we're here. More to come on that process. And then we're going to partner with Craft and Toll working with Dan and Mayor Chase and Nita and several other partners to develop that process. But we're basically going to do an assessment of a 3x3 block area. And Craft and Toll, I'm not a planning expert, but Dave Roberts at Craft and Toll is. He's going to come in free of charge to the community and do an assessment of that area and provide a report back to the community on improvements you can make to create better circulation, better walkability, a better environment for your businesses and citizens. That will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. I think we've already got it planned. I can't remember the date. But as well, Mayor, did you?
April 22nd.
April 22nd. Okay, I knew we had gotten it. There's a lot of dates in my mind. But that's going to be a fantastic, another foundational piece of this process. And I know your planning commission is going to be able to use that information to develop a rock-solid plan for the future. And then I also want to say that strategic doing process that Tandy talked about. So, like I said, that is really going to be a grassroots community initiative where we want citizens of, every part of Monticello to be involved in, where we're going to come up with using the resources and assets we have at our disposal, create projects that we can achieve quickly and create momentum and have a high positive impact on your community. Hopefully we'll be able to start that process this summer. We got our fingers crossed. I'm very thankful, that we're all able to gather here today. I think that's a step in the right direction. But we'll keep you updated on that as well. And I sent out an email to the 188 people that said they were interested in being a part of that process with information on kind of what's coming next, because we want to engage those citizens. So that's an overview of the survey of what's coming. We got a lot on our plates, and we're really excited to be in Monticello. You have a beautiful community, you have great leadership, you have wonderful schools, you have so many great assets. We just got to get all of those pieces put into place to really push us forward into that brighter future and enhance your community even further. So with that, do we have any final questions for me tonight? And I want to thank you all for being engaging. I know we're all socially distanced, but I appreciate it. Anything at all? Okay. Well, Jeff has my contact information, so does Nita, so does Mayor Chase. If you all need anything at all, please let me know, and I'll be here after the presentation, and you can come up and ask me questions as well. And I'll turn it back over to Jeff to sign us off for tonight.
Wow. Congratulations, Monticello. So on behalf of Dr. Doss, the Executive Council, the Board of Trustees, the faculty, staff, students here at UAM, we really appreciate you all for coming out. We appreciate those of you at home watching. Thank you for participating in the survey. Thank you to Shelby, Entergy, the Arkansas Economic Development Commission. Thank you so much for conducting this survey and choosing Monticello. We already knew it was a great place to live. And so this is just reaffirms that. And thank you all at home again for working so hard to fill out this survey, and we look forward to engaging you very soon in the future. Thank you and have a good evening.